Professor Mehmet Merdan Hekimoğlu from İzmir University's Faculty of Law has said that if private exam preparation schools known in Turkish as dershanes are not still allowed to operate despite a recent ruling in their favor by the Constitutional Court, the authorities will have to pay compensation to those affected by the closure of schools. Since the restriction on prep schools is no longer legal after the top court's ruling, it is possible for parents, students, and prep school owners to file complaints against authorities such as the Education Ministry for compensation for the damage caused by the authorities, Hekimoğlu told today's Zaman. In a landmark ruling earlier in July, the Constitutional Court annulled a controversial law abolishing prep schools, which help students prepare for standardized high school and university entrance exams, ruling that their closure would be against the Constitution. The Constitutional Court, which annulled the law by a 5-12 majority vote, said the law represented a violation of the articles of the Constitution governing to the right to education and freedom of labor. Hekimoğlu also said, the legal basis for the reopening of the dershanes is Article 48 of the Constitution. According to this article, anyone can found a private enterprise in any area they please, provided that there is no unlawful content. Any move contrary to this is a violation of the Constitution. Furthermore, Professor Ali Dursun Ulusoy, the head of Ankara University's Department of Administrative Law and a former member of the Council of State, told today's Zaman, there is no need for a new law so that existing dershanes can function again. The only thing prep school owners need to do is to submit an annotation to the Ministry of Education stating, we will continue our activities as a dershane. This would be enough. Saying that it would be against the law and the Constitution for the government to ignore the decision of the Constitutional Court and continue to prevent the operation of prep schools, Ulusoy added, if one of my students were to write in an exam that dershanes cannot go on with their activities after the decision of the Constitutional Court, he or she would not pass that course. After the annulment of the law that sought to close down dershanes, media reports claimed that the Ministry of Education had asked prep school owners who were not granted a license to convert into another type of educational institution to apply to do so once again. According to the media reports, the ministry aimed to decrease the number of dershanes that would continue in operation if the top court's decision to halt the closure of the dershanes is implemented. According to the law the government had introduced, dershanes could only avoid closure by converting themselves into private schools. According to data from the Ministry of Education, a total of 2,164 prep schools applied to transform into a high school, but only 841 were granted a license. Strong criticism from parents against the government. Millions of students and their families breathed a sigh of relief on July 13 after the Constitutional Court annulled the controversial law concerning prep schools, and some parents who are concerned about their children's education due to persisting uncertainties regarding prep schools have criticized the heavy-handed attitude of the government. Speaking to today's Zaman, Bekir S., whose child took the transition to higher education examination, YGS, and the undergraduate placement examination, LIS, said that his family didn't know what to do after his child received a low score on the exams. Before the court decision, we were torn between applying and not applying to high schools. If we don't apply to high schools, we cannot afford to have our child take private lessons and prepare for the exams again. The prep schools that have already transformed into other types of educational institutions are very expensive, while public education centers are inadequate in preparing students for the exams. Many families like us were concerned before the court's decision. We are very happy about it now. If the court announces its reasoned decision about the dershane law soon, we will make our plans accordingly, Bekir S. said. After the Constitutional Court's reasoned decision concerning its ruling is published in the official gazette, parents will expectantly await a response from the Ministry of Education. Although the ministry eliminated all the regulations related to the establishment of prep schools last year, making it impossible to establish new prep schools, it will need to make amendments to the private education institutions law and add criteria concerning the establishment of prep schools again. The Justice and Development Party, AK Party, decided in November 2013 to shut down or transform, as the government argues, the prep schools, stirring a massive debate and attracting huge criticism from families and teachers. The AK Party's bill was put to a vote and passed by Parliament in March 2014 and then signed into law by then-President Abdullah Gül. The law, which states that prep schools will only be allowed to operate until September 1, 2015, was challenged by the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, at the Constitutional Court last year, on the grounds that it was a blow to the right to free enterprise.